Welcome back to Pure Science Education. Today we're looking at a required practical at GCSE. This is video 3 on paper 1 for chemistry. There will be a few more videos to cover the remaining topics for paper 1 in chemistry. Now, this practical is quite important. It is about how to make a salt using an insoluble base. And we will be looking at the different steps that are involved. This normally comes up as a 6-marker question in the exam, and it's really easy if you have some kind of diagram to explain each step. Diagrams will also help you remember what each step involves. So if you look at step 1, I have got a diagram where I've got a beaker. I've then got a measured required volume of acid, which I measured using a measuring cylinder, and then I've got a weighed amount of solid, which is got a stirrer in the middle. So when you write in the method, you need to be really specific about the apparatus you use as well. So this is my acid. So in this case, I'm going to make copper sulfate crystals. So I'm going to use sulfuric acid. Again, you need to know the concentration and volume. Because I'm making copper sulfate crystals, I'm going to start with copper oxide. Again, I have measured on a weighing scale the mass of how much I'm adding in. Then this is your stirring rod. So stirrer, glass stirrer normally, which you're going to make sure you stir in your crystals. Now, in the next stage, what you're going to do is you're going to, obviously with the stirrer, mix as much as you can. After that, you're going to add your safety goggles. You're going to put the mixture to heat the acid. Now, you need to make sure that no more of the solid dissolves at this point, so you're going to just heat up to that point. But equally, when you heat it, just warm the acid and never boil the acid, so you've got no fumes coming off it. Now, when all the acid is neutralized, there should be very little access of the solid as well. So in this case, you're going to warm the sulfuric acid to encourage the particles to dissolve rapidly. And always remember, warm, not boil. So do not boil the acid, warm the acid, and obviously your Bunsen burner on the blue flame. As you can see, it gives you a nice copper sulfate solution color. It changes to really nice blue. Next stage is called filtration. And in this stage, what you're going to do, you're going to filter the solution to remove any excess solid. So filtration is to remove excess copper oxide in this case. So that means you should end up with the black particles on your filter paper. And once you've filtered it, only the solution here should be of your salt, which in this case is copper sulfate solution. And finally, for the last stage, what you need to do is then, once you have filtered all this, then the whole concentrate solution has to be left to cool down and crystallize. So this stage is called crystallization. Here was filtration, here's crystallization. So the hot concentrated solution has to be left to cool down to crystallize. After crystallization, you can then collect and dry the crystals with a filter paper. If the solution is too hot, the solvent will then evaporate faster. Heating a solution until all the solvent has been evaporated is known as drying, heating to dry. Now, there's one more thing you need to be careful of. In the exam, if they ask you about forming dry crystals, then you must mention another stage to dry crystals with filter paper. If you don't put that stage in of drying, then you will lose a mark. But like I said, it has to be in the question to produce dry crystals. So you're going to say to dry crystals, use filter paper. Now, to make larger crystals, what you will do is you will evaporate half of your solution and leave the remaining in a cold place to dry over a longer period of time. Because if you leave it for longer, you make larger crystals. But if you dry it instantly, then you make smaller crystals. So like I said, this was your required practical. In this practical, we did copper sulfate crystals. It started with sulfuric acid and copper oxide, and you ended up with copper sulfate crystals. These were the stages. So if you can draw this little annotation of diagrams to help you in the exam, do so. If not, write step-by-step method. Don't forget to add all your apparatus, all your safety, any variables that you're going to keep constant or change. So all the best. Thank you.